I've worked offshore most of my adult life, so being on a boat never scared me. Storms didn't scare me. Darkness didn't scare me. Even isolation didn't scare me. What scared me was realizing the ocean had gone quiet, and it wasn't supposed to. This happened 8 years ago, during what was supposed to be a simple overnight transfer between 2 rigs in the Gulf. 4 of us on board a mid-sized supply boat. Captain Ray, me, and 2 deckhands. Clear forecast. Calm water. Easy money. By midnight, the radio started acting strange. Not static, silence. Dead air. Ray kept trying different channels, tapping the receiver like it owed him money. He laughed it off, said the rig interference probably knocked something loose. At 1:12 a.m., the GPS froze. Not glitched. Not blinking. Frozen. Our speed still showed movement. Fuel burn still changed. The compass still turned. But our position didn't move. Ray stared at the screen longer than I liked. That was the first hook, the moment my brain whispered, "This isn't right." Around 2 a.m., the fog rolled in. Not normal fog. Thick. Low. Heavy. It swallowed the deck lights and reflected them back wrong, like we were inside a hollow sphere of light and nothing existed beyond it. That's when we heard the splash. It wasn't big. Not a whale. Not debris. Just a single, deliberate splash, close. Too close. Ray cut the engines. Silence hit us so hard it felt physical. No wind. No waves. No engine hum. Just fog and the slow creak of the hull. Then came the knocking. 3 knocks. From below deck. We all heard it. Ray grabbed the flashlight and told us to stay put. I followed anyway, stupid, I know. The lower deck was dark, but nothing looked disturbed. No loose cargo. No open hatches. Then we heard it again. 3 knocks. This time, from inside the hull. Not against it. Inside it. I backed up so fast I hit a ladder rung. Ray didn't say a word. He just stared at the wall like he was trying to decide if reality had finally snapped. We restarted the engines. They turned over instantly, like nothing had ever been wrong. But the compass started spinning. Not fast. Slowly. Steadily. 1 full rotation every 10 seconds. At 3:40 a.m., the fog began thinning. We could see stars again. Familiar constellations. Relief washed over us. Until the GPS updated. We were over 60 miles off course. Ray went pale. That's impossible. By sunrise, we saw something floating ahead. A boat. Same model as ours. Same markings. Same dents along the starboard rail. No one was on it. And when we drifted closer, I saw dried handprints on the hull, from the inside. The Coast Guard later blamed equipment malfunction and spatial disorientation. They didn't explain how a duplicate of our boat existed. Ray quit boating that year. I still dream about those knocks. 3 slow taps. Waiting to be answered. I took a seasonal job working night watch on a private marina off the Pacific Northwest coast. Easy job. Mostly paperwork, cameras, and making sure nobody messed with the yachts. One night, a small fishing boat docked around 11 p.m. 2 men on board. Quiet. Polite. Didn't give names. Said they'd be back by morning. They never came back. At 2:17 a.m., the dock camera flickered. When it came back, the boat was rocking violently, like something heavy had climbed aboard. I rewound the footage. There was no splash. No wake. The boat just started moving. I called it in. Harbor Patrol said they'd check it at first light. At 3 a.m., the radio crackled. A voice whispered, "We're still out here." I asked for identification. No response. 5 minutes later, the voice returned, closer. Breathing heavy. We didn't mean to open it. Every hair on my body stood up. The boat drifted back into its slip at 11 a.m. Empty. Inside the cabin, the walls were scratched, deep, frantic gouges. Blood under the nails embedded in the wood. The engine was ice cold. The Coast Guard found the men 3 days later. Or what was left of them. Both bodies tangled together inside a life raft. From the inside. Their mouths sewn shut with fishing line. The case was labeled an accident. I quit the marina. Sometimes, when I'm near the water at night, I hear radios whispering things no one should be able to say. I've spent most of my adult life on the water. Fishing charters, cargo runs, night crossings, you name it. The ocean doesn't scare me easily. Storms don't either. What scares me is how quiet it can get. This happened 3 years ago, and I still don't go out alone at night anymore. I was hired to transport a small supply boat from Kodiak Island to a private dock near a research station. It was supposed to be simple, 6 hours, straight line, clear weather, no stops. I was alone, which wasn't unusual. The boat was older but reliable, with a single cabin, a radio, and minimal lighting. The sky was clear when I left. No moon, just stars. The kind of night where the ocean looks flat and endless. About 2 hours in, I noticed something strange. The water behind my boat didn't look right. At first, I thought it was my wake, foam, turbulence, nothing unusual. But the longer I stared, the more I realized it wasn't fading like it should. Instead of dispersing, it looked stretched. Like something darker was moving through it, disturbing the surface in a straight line behind me. I slowed the engine slightly. The disturbance slowed too. That's when my stomach tightened. I cut the engine completely. Silence swallowed everything. No waves. No wind. No engine hum. Just the gentle creak of the hull. I leaned over the side and shined my flashlight into the water. Nothing. Just black. I told myself it was paranoia. Fatigue. The ocean plays tricks on your eyes at night. I restarted the engine and continued forward. 10 minutes later, the radio crackled. At first it was just static. Then a voice cut through. "Boat ahead, you shouldn't be here." I froze. I grabbed the MIC immediately. "Hello? This is a private transport vessel. Identify yourself." Nothing. Just static again. I checked the radio frequency. It wasn't a public channel. It wasn't even active. That was when I noticed something else. The GPS. It said I wasn't moving. But the engine was running. The water was passing. The stars were shifting. Yet the coordinates stayed the same. I felt like I was being watched. I stepped outside the cabin and scanned the horizon. That's when I saw it. A shape in the water. Far behind the boat, but moving. Not like another vessel. No lights. No engine sound. Just a long, dark shape gliding beneath the surface, barely visible as it disturbed the water in a straight line toward me. It was keeping pace. I increased speed. So did it. My heart started pounding. I locked myself inside the cabin and watched the radar. A blip appeared directly behind me. No identification. No signal. Just there. The radio crackled again. This time the voice was clearer. "Turn off the engine." I shouted back. "Who is this?" "Coast Guard." The voice paused. "It can hear you." That's when the lights went out. Every light on the boat died at once. The engine cut. I was drifting. In complete darkness. The ocean around me started to move, not violently, but deliberately. The water slapped against the hull in slow, heavy waves, like something circling beneath. I grabbed the emergency flare and cracked the door open just enough to look outside. What I saw still shows up in my dreams. The water around the boat wasn't empty. Shapes, multiple, just beneath the surface. Long pale. Moving slowly. Their outlines distorted by the waves, but unmistakably alive. And one of them surfaced. Not fully. Just enough for me to see what looked like a face. No eyes. No nose. Just a stretched, smooth shape with a vertical opening where a mouth should be. It didn't open. It didn't move. It just stayed there. Watching. The radio burst to life again. They follow noise, engines, voices. "Who are you?" I screamed. The last one. The shape vanished beneath the water. The engine suddenly roared back to life on its own. Lights flickered on. I didn't question it. I pushed the throttle to maximum and didn't look back. For the next hour, the radio stayed silent. The radar showed nothing. The water behind me was calm. When I finally reached the dock, my hands were shaking so badly I could barely tie the rope. As soon as I stepped onto land, my radio crackled one last time. "You were lucky." I threw the radio into the ocean. I reported everything the next day. They told me there were no research stations in that area. No private docks. No scheduled transport orders. The boat I was hired to move? It was reported lost at sea 5 years earlier. Sometimes, late at night, when I'm near the shore, I hear faint static carried by the wind. And I swear, something out there is still listening. My uncle owned a small sailboat and invited me on a weekend trip down the coast. Just us. No schedule. No rush. On the second night, we noticed lights behind us. A small boat. No navigation lights. Just a single lantern swinging slowly. It kept its distance. No matter how fast we went, it stayed. At midnight, the wind died. Completely. The water flattened into black glass. That's when the lantern stopped swinging. It hung perfectly still. Then the engine noise started, but the boat wasn't moving. The sound came from everywhere. From beneath us. My uncle whispered, "Don't look at it." I did anyway. The boat behind us had no one on board. No controls. No motor. Just wet footprints leading in circles around the deck. The lantern went out. The next thing I remember is waking up at sunrise, docked. My uncle was gone. The police found the sailboat 2 days later. Floating. Undamaged. Inside the cabin, carved into the wood above the bed, were 4 words. "You look back." They never found my uncle. But sometimes, when I'm near the coast, I see a lantern drifting offshore. Waiting.